Hi guys, it's Kamil here. In just 2 days, as of recording this video, the 2020 International Booker Prize is announced. Therefore, my project of reviewing all 13 novels would be incomplete if I didn't end it with some sort of summary and the winner's predictions, right? Let's start from the summary. I won't be reviewing the books because I already did that, but I will link all my reviews down in the box below if you are interested in finding out more about any of those books. Overall, the project of reading and recording with such an intensive schedule was an interesting experience, but I have to say that I was lucky with the long list, as otherwise it might have been a chore. There were a few weeks where I was posting 2 reviews a week, and if it wasn't for the quality of books, I'm not sure I would be able to come through. I disliked only 3 titles, and if we talk about 13 books, this is a pretty great ratio, isn't it? The 3 books I didn't like, starting from the obvious one, Serotonin by Michele Houellebecq, who generally is not a great writer. He is an interesting one because of his criticism of current society or our norms. With his latest novel failed in both categories for me, the writing and the ideas. Both of them, yeah. I think that with the current political environment, where even presidents act as misogynist pigs and the right wing being on the rise, it's harder and harder to sustain the status of an intellectual provocateur by simply going against political correctness, because that political correctness and our social norms are being targeted by those in the highest offices every single day. It really felt like Houellebecq, with those subplots of zoophilia and pedophilia, tried to outdo himself in the shock the reader area, and as a result we have this mess of a book. Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin was another disappointment. The good part of this book are a few vignettes which demonstrate that Schweblin is a great short-form writer, but this book just didn't work as a full-fledged novel. If you want to hear why, please go ahead and watch my full review. I was quite outspoken about it. And the last one that I was disappointed with was Red Dog by Willem Anker. In fragments, it's quite fascinating Western-like story about Cape Colony, and there's some great writing in it. However, that writing is diminished by accusation of plagiarism. I don't quite understand, maybe except for Anker's book, as plagiarism accusation might have not yet come through, and not everybody needs to be a Cormac McCarthy fan to notice those problematic fragments, but I really don't understand how especially Serotonin ended up on the long list. Less so, but there must have been better novels than Little Eyes as well. None of those books was shortlisted, which made me happy and also, in my eyes, demonstrated to me that the judge's taste in literature is quite close to mine. Then the remaining books that were longlisted but not shortlisted were all strong. All of them. The Eighth Life, a sweeping, heart-wrenching and captivating family saga set in Georgia. Then The Other Name, a contemplative, innovative and deeply insightful novel, one of the best books I've read this year. Then there was Mac and His Problem, a mind-boggling homage to literature, and a fantastic, beautifully atmospheric and dark Faces at the Tip of My Tongue. It's really quite rare that so many books on any prize longlist are to my taste. I don't think I ever felt this way. My favorite here is The Other Name by Fosse. And that gets us to the shortlist. If any of the 4 books I just mentioned was shortlisted, that would be absolutely justifiable. But I think that the only one that I'm missing is, as I said, Fosse's The Other Name. Having said that though, if I had to choose which of the shortlisted novels should be kicked out to make a room for The Other Name, I would not be able to tell. Because even if Yōko Ogawa's The Memory Police, which to my opinion had some gaps in terms of narration and some plot choices were pretty underdeveloped, if not illogical, the philosophical side of the book, and by that I mean the realm of ideas, made up for the underdeveloped plot. Ogawa's novel creates such a vast room for discussion and interpretation, especially if we refer it to the current world's not so distant history, that for that alone it wouldn't be an undeserving winner. And you know, she wrote so many good books that maybe it's about time for her to win that award. Now, let's get to the prediction part of the video and I'll talk about the other books there. If Booker judges were to make a safe choice, and don't misunderstand me here, this is my favorite book on the shortlist if I had to choose, but at the same time it's a very Booker typical book. That is why I call it the safe choice. With this novel, we have a historical narration capturing the country in the most pivotal moment during the revolution that changed the life of its population for years to come. This novel also showcases to the world a beautiful, ancient culture of that country with numerous references to its mythology, ancient religion and literature. The book is also written by a writer that is a political refugee who left a country that was diminished by a religion-crazy regime. Yes, I'm talking about The Enlightenment of the Greengage Tree by Shokoofeh Azar. I believe this is the safest bet for the winner. However, if we took into account the scandal surrounding already former honorary vice president of Booker Prize, Baroness Emma Nicholson, I would bet on another winner. You know, maybe what the scandal was about. Emma Nicholson helped establish Booker Prize, and due to that and all of the work and the support she given to Booker, she was awarded with the honorary vice presidency. This year though, LGBTQ activists brought back to public attention the fact that Baroness, when she was a parliament member, voted against the same-sex marriage bill in 2013. This was a response to her quite a silly comment on Twitter where she suggested that the introduction of same-sex marriage had degraded the status of women and of girls as a binary class. She also wrote to Health Secretary opposing transgender people's access to single-sex NHS wards. And she was guilty of some others not so smart tweets that offended already jeopardized communities, right? That created obviously a wave of criticism on social media and some official stands by various writers, and the Baroness lost her honorary title. You know, obviously Booker Prize and all other literary awards are not free from the political and social spectrum we are living in, and that is absolutely understandable and fine as long as literary merit is the obligatory factor in selecting the winner. And that is the case with all 6 long-listed books, as far as I am considered. All of them have literary merits. Aside of that Booker scandal, the situation of LGBTQ community in Poland is also another very widely discussed topic on the literary scene as well. Various big names writers including Kotzi, Atwood, Tokarczuk, Asta signed a letter to European Commission addressing their concerns regarding Polish high officials' activities targeting LGBTQ in Poland. Less so, obviously, than the book scandal, but that also might be a factor in selecting a winner, and that raises the chances of winning of one of those three brilliant books that I'm holding. And I'm talking about The Adventures of China Ayon by Gabriela Cabezón Cámara. I'm talking about The Discomfort of Evening, not LGBTQ themed, but written by a non-binary writer, Marieke Rijneveld. But most of all, it raises the chances of winning of a novel that is probably the audience favorite, the book that is a fantastic commentary on current day capitalism, but also a brilliant novel where LGBTQ subplot is masterfully developed and wrapped into the story in an impressively suspenseful way. Of course, I'm talking about Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. If I made my bet, the winner would be The Enlightenment of the Greengage Tree or Hurricane Season. However, my black horse would be The Adventures of China Ayon. Now, those are obviously just predictions. We need to remember that the selection is made by 5 people, and sometimes the book which triggers no strong opinion against itself is the winner. There's a very interesting article that was published in Guardian, I think in 2010 or 2008, where book judges for 40th anniversary of the award shared some behind-the-scenes information of how winners were selected. And if you read through it, you'll see that surprisingly often the judges would recall that the award was given to everybody's second choice, as each judge had their own favorite. But my favorite fragment, I think, of that article was 1983 award, when the panel was split between Qudsi's The Life and Time of Michael Kay and Salman Rushdie's Shame. During the ceremony, when Qudsi won and the chair of the award made some comments regarding the publishing industry, in her speech, the president of the Publishers Association back then crossed the room and physically hit the chair's manager. Where are those emotions now? I'm asking. Where? I'm aware that I haven't mentioned yet Tyll by Daniel Kehlmann, a great historical novel with lots of indirect commentary to our current times, loved by Tyll, one of the judges. I believe that when the shortlist was announced, there were 2 titles that were spoken about with the most vivid emotions. Of course, that might be due to personality of given judge selected to present a particular title, but the admiration of Tyll when he was talking about Tyll, and the same for Jennifer Croft when she was presenting The Adventures of China Ayon, were both infectious. And therefore, Tyll, which is as deserving of winning, might eventually win. One thing left to say, I believe, is that for the first time, I don't have such strong preferences. There's usually one title that I want to win because I judge it as the one above all others. That was the case with A Horse Walks into a Bar by David Grossman, winner of 2017 International Booker Prize, or Milkman by Anna Burns, winner of 2018 Booker Prize, or Dax Newberry Report that should have won 2019 award. All of them somewhere on the shelf. This year, though, I'm pretty okay with any of the shortlisted books winning, and I don't think that any of them would be a disgrace to the award, you know? My preferences lay with Shokoofeh Azar, The Enlightenment of the Greengage Tree, then The Adventures of China Ayon, but I think the decision will be made between those 2. Hurricane Season and The Enlightenment of the Greengage Tree. However, I'm pretty happy if any of those 2 won or any others on the shortlist. Yeah, let me know which was your favorite and which one you believe should win, and maybe which one you think is going to win based on analysis that you made, right? Because it's not always, you know, our favorite or the book that we judge as the one with the highest literary merit. It's always quite subjective, and, you know, as I said, this is a group of people trying to make a decision, right? You know, democracy, the best system that we know, is not the perfect one, right? Okay, guys, it's getting pretty late. I need to go to bed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.